is miss clicks for days. There we go. Got it sorted. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Glad you all can join us. We have a stacked crew tonight. Some here physically, some here virtually, some here lost from California. It's going to be a great show. Oh, so we got a lot to talk about tonight, just like we do every night. It's no different. But no interviews this time. I guess technically Oliver being on is kind of like an interview, but not really. We'll bend his ear. We're going to let you guys bend his ear. So we're talking all about our best baits for pre-spawn fishing, because why not, right? It's prime time for it, depending upon where exactly you are. It's getting pretty interesting, and more importantly, it's getting fun. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, and we're going to talk about this pretty much from every single angle we can think of. But really, I'd like to put a little bit more focus on the moving bait stuff, because why not, right? That's easy for everybody. It's fun as hell. So we can cover a lot of that. Before we truly get started, for everybody that's here, that shared this, whatever the case you did, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you as always. Do me a favor, drop a like, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, doesn't matter. It helps immensely. And just touching on the uploads a little bit, that swim jig video I did, my first video back in 4 months, has done phenomenal. Thank you all for that. The first of the 4 videos I'm doing for this Jig Fishing 101 series also did phenomenal, even better than the other videos, which is awesome. Second video is doing pretty good. I think it's going to be like a slow gainer for views all in all. Video 3 is done. That'll go up tomorrow. Video 4 is nearly done. That'll go up Friday. And subscriber count exploded overnight, which is awesome. So thank you all for that as well. I appreciate everybody that's sticking around to watch these things and support. I don't know. I'm just excited. So, all right. Enough about me. How's everybody doing? Oliver, welcome back. It's been a minute.
It has. Hi, guys.
So you tearing it up on Champlain just a little bit, huh?
Tearing it up. I don't know. I've definitely had better days for numbers and even quality, but it's been fun. It's getting fun, like you just alluded to. So just kind of piecing the puzzle. This is a new part of this little tiny 120-mile long lake that I've got to experience for the past few days. Thankfully, the sun's been out a little bit for once since we've been up here. But yeah, it's been good times. They're slacklining the bait about 50% of the time when they're eating it.
Oh, that's fun.
That's the best kind of bite. I will say, I know I was joking with you. I think it was Saturday when you were talking about how cold it was, and I said soft.
Oh, yeah.
I went out Sunday. I made it 3 hours before I had to go back to my truck to warm up because I didn't bring any of my insulated gear. It was blowing like 40 something, and it was 41 degrees, and I was chilled to the bone. I didn't bring anything for like normal gear or like anything to keep you warm. I was cold.
I thought it's all you need.
You should know better to be prepared on the boat. I mean, I fished in three different seasons on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday down here. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I got an excuse for being soft, but you should be out there in like shorts and a t-shirt in that kind of condition.
You know, you're not wrong, and I really thought it was going to be fine. And by hour 2, I could barely even like talk to myself. My teeth are chattering. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with me? I was like, and then the half an hour, I'm like, this isn't not good. I'm just gonna go back to the truck. So I did. Took 10 minutes, warmed up, then that was good after that. But man, the morning sucked.
Yeah, we have not been on the water bright and early at all.
It's one of those things this time of year that I don't really. It's not a necessary thing because you really want that water to warm up and get the fish active. And I tell people that, right, what time we go? And I was like, I'm not even waking up until 7. Like, I want that water to warm up and get those fish active. What?
See, for me to have the whole day, I still got to come home and cook dinner for the family. So I got to be up there earlier. I don't get a full day.
Right.
I get that one day, I'm making it a full damn day. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Sean, because you had a pretty damn good day over the weekend too over there. Well, I'm not going to say the lake, but you had a pretty good day on Saturday.
Sunday,
Was it
right?
Sunday.
All the big baits.
Yeah, Sunday was swim bait Sunday for us. We went out to a well-known body of water on Saturday, and it was blowing. It was supposed to be nice and like not supposed to rain. We were supposed to skate around the rain, and then all of a sudden it just we could looked up and it was just like a wall coming at us. So we got the rain gear on real quick and got drenched the rest of the day. It was really interesting. And then Sunday, we picked a body of water that we knew was going to be kind of blown out a little bit, but it was like the least blown out of all of the spots around us. And so we picked it kind of just like the wind may be good to fire them up, but it's probably going to be the safest bet with the northwest wind that we had. And yeah, it ended up being a very magical day, but it was really weird too at the same time. So, but we had an awesome big bait day.
Nice. Friday I took the family out after work, and we'll get into this a little bit more detail, but I had a hunch on this one particular pond nearby my house that they were going to be up top because the wind was blowing out of the south end to the northern end. It's a big lily pad flat throughout most of the year. I figured they would be kind of emergent already at this point. They're always stacked up there, and there was no exception. I got up there, dropped trolling motor, scope around really quick. I'm like, yep, there's bait and bass everywhere. So it's like, my youngest, you get a spinner bait. My oldest, you get a swim jig. My wife, you get a swim jig. And I'm just going to sling a big swim bait. And I think it's going to work, but I'm not going to be too upset if it doesn't. Didn't go 5 minutes and just the thing. I wasn't even looking. I was talking to my wife like this, and I just heard, I was like, oh, Christ. Is that the hook? I was like, yeah, all right, awesome. And then it just kept happening. I had 8 in the boat on a big swim bait, my Pats, in like maybe 40 minutes, which is like, for me, I don't know, big swim bait. I'm happy about that. It's like, that's a good amount of fish in a short period of time. And then my wife and oldest are like, what the crap? Can we have some fun? I was like, okay. So bomb it out for my wife and just hand her the rod. And I get another rod out for my oldest, and I do the same thing. Bomb it out. Here's the rod. I was like, when you guys get into the boat, I'll cast it out for you again, because neither one of them can throw it that far. My wife is still not great with the bait caster, but she's getting there. And then I picked up a glide, and I was like really hopeful for the glide, but dude, they just wanted it on top. But it was that, a very magical hour and a half.
That little weight crank.
It was all thanks to you and your cast placement, Sean. That's what it was. Yeah.
I will tell you, my wife missed one, dude. I don't know. I think third or fourth cast with the Pats, and like I'm explaining it to her, and she understood very quickly like how to get it to wake perfectly on top, because this particular Pats I have is kind of wonky. It cranks down to a foot like beautifully, but trying to get it to wake just right is wonky. At any rate, I think it was her third cast, and I was trying to help my oldest, and all of a sudden I heard, when you get a big fish and a big bait on top and it toilet bowls, and you just know that's a big one. Mm-hmm. That's what it did. And I look over to see just like the swirl, and I'm like, "Set the effing hook!" She missed.
We had a similar experience this weekend. For me, was I went out and did some night fishing and actually slated on the baby bird this weekend.
Hell yeah,
sweet.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I was like, it's a little early for this, but I figured out and tuned the blades just right and got that noise dialed in perfectly, and got a 4.9 on the baby bird, and I found that it had a treble hook with a ice fishing setup on it. So this 4.9 was like post spawn skinny, just sad. Saved the fish, got the hook out, 2 foot long steel leader with a treble hook down its gullet. Saved the fish, let him go, and probably caught 4 or 5 others that day. It was a fun early spring night fishing trip that I was not anticipating to be that good, but it was that warming pattern we had where it was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it was 55 at night, and they just wanted everything. They didn't care. Just so fun.
I really wanted to catch some stuff on like a crawler, and they just wouldn't even entertain it. I was really disappointed.
Hey man, I'd happily take one of those glide fish. That's one of the bites I'm still missing right now.
Dude, it was so cool because we were fishing in the same spot and we're catching smallies, giant northerns, and largemouth all mixed in the same spot, like not moving. It was cool.
Come here.
Really cool.
I'll get it eventually. I'm taking my son out after work Friday, and it's going to be very similar to last week in the sense of wind direction, temp, everything. So I'm like really hopeful. 5.
Apologize for interrupting the stream. You're not even
I
a
will
guard.
not.
She's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know.
This MF thinks I'm going to apologize.
Ridiculous.
Oh boy.
Were those fish slurping or cannonballing that baby bird?
It was the bass were destroying it. But I also noticed all of the little bait fish, bluegill and rock bass, every cast, it would just get that, that bump. It would be a bump and set the hook. Wait, no. But every cast was probably 3 or 4 of those little coming up. So it was just so active at night. Everything wanted it. I probably caught 2 bluegill and like
oh my God,
3 or 4 rock bass on the baby bird.
Dude,
That's amazing.
You just have to be patient and wait for that blow up for it to be a bass. But it was the most frustrating thing in the world. I was like, oh, come on, bumped it again. No. Just wait. The right ones will blow up on it. And it was awesome.
Dude, I caught the biggest rock bass of my life. I think I set a new PB on a rock bass. This thing must have been pushing all like 1.5, 1 3/4 pounds. This thing was gigantic. I was like, this is a decent fish. And I get it close to the boat and I'm like, rock bass, dude.
Hell yeah.
It was huge.
They're good tasting fish.
They are.
Yeah.
Very, very tasty.
That's what Dennis Hart said. He went out, what was it, 3 years
they're
ago?
delicious.
And he caught a bunch and he was like, they were amazing.
They're
All right,
really
good to know.
good.
Go to
They're
Winnie
almost
or Sunapee.
largemouth.
Yeah.
Almost as good.
What's
I
the
am
perfect rock bass size to cull out of the ecosystem, Oliver?
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. There is no limit. The perfect answer, the perfect size is as many as you possibly can.
Yeah.
A couple thousand.
What
You'll
I
get
would
yelled
give
at.
for a day without the bites behind like every single moving bait that you have.
Yeah.
Just the
You'll get
little
yelled
nibbles.
at on Sunapee for letting them go, releasing them. You're
Oh, yeah.
supposed to kill them there because they're so bad.
Hey man, all I gotta do is put pike in there, and I think that would really help sort that problem out. They're native to Champlain. How many rock bass do you catch on Champlain? Because for me, I probably get 1 every 10 trips, and they're native to the damn lake. And I've fished it top to bottom. But then you come to the lakes region where we don't have toothy critters like walleye and pike, and you can't get away from the goddamn things.
Mm-hmm.
What the F
Dude,
do I know?
They have rock bass tournaments over here, and these guys are nuts, like absolutely nuts. It takes a special kind of person to want to get in a rock bass tournament over here, I guess,
I mean,
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know, man.
Not my cup of tea.
They do them here in New Hampshire too, especially Sunapee. They do it twice a year, and they're not even putting dent in it. They'll take out thousands per
like
tournament.
5,000-6,000 on a tournament, and they just go and fry them or kill them and turn them into fertilizer.
Dude,
And it's just not putting a dent in it.
Our combined best 6 were 1.34 pounds. It was great. Great day of fishing.
Yeah, those tournaments you win by how many like 5-gallon buckets you fill.
Yes,
I'm not even kidding. Like
that
that's
is actually how they do it in Sunapee.
it's ridiculous. But all right, we digress enough. Let's get into the meat of this. The topic again on hand is best baits for pre-spawn bass fishing, which is kind of generic, but I wasn't trying to overly complicate what this title was going to be. The gist of it was talking about our favorite baits we're using right now for this pre-spawn window. And I would like to focus first on moving baits, but it doesn't have to necessarily be just that for this show or, even the bulk of it. So, you know what, Oliver? You talked about it a little bit before we actually got started, but it was before we got started.
okay.
Why don't you, as the guest, lead off? And especially catered to up here. None of this California nonsense.
Man. Well, I find these kind of topics a little frustrating to me because when I see a YouTube video and they have a title. Only 3 baits you need for the pre-spawn. Yada, 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 or something along those lines. Really irks me, man, because if you look at the deck of my boat, whether it's December in California, whether it's April on Lake Champlain, or Texas in the middle of the summer, for the most part, you're going to see 6 to 8 of the same baits tied on year round. Moving slow or otherwise, like, topwater is really the only genre that doesn't see a lot of usage from November until now, just depending where I'm at in the country. We just talked about how the baby bird was getting bit up here in the Northeast already for DJ. And although that seems a little early to some, I know in this region specifically, these fish eat crawlers and wake baits in cold ass water.
Like ice out.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And going back to February, we got a couple of baby bird samples out to the team. And I wanted to make sure one of the guys in Texas had them before a bite window. And I sent it to him, I think, end of January. And a few days later, he started sending me clips of him smashing fish end of January, early February in North Texas, where it does freeze. They did get snowstorms. It was downright cold. So that kind of opened up my eyes to like, man, maybe I need to start throwing some of these topwater baits, like these crawlers and that baby bird specifically. And it's kind of getting to that feeling in the air here for the last couple of days. I'm seeing temps in the 57 to 59 range at the end of the day. I'm seeing flocks of red-winged blackbirds massing on the dead cattails and the tree branches, and just all that chirping and bird activity. And I'm catching a bunch of fish shallow, like 1 to 5 feet of water, mostly is what I'm getting most of my bites in. So it's not anything more than a flick of their tail for them to come up and eat a bait off the surface, because I'm watching them eat my swim bait at the boat, and they're like charging the bait. And like I said, about half my bites, whether it's a hard bait or a soft swim bait, have been slackline bites where I feel the tick and it's just slack. And I'm like in a panic in that moment to hopefully wind fast and catch up. That's if my hand didn't get knocked off the handle, which has been happening. And then I'm having to resort to swinging on them, because if I can keep my hand and grip on that handle and wind through the bite, I'm sticking every one of them. I mean, they're
I don't know if you heard this, but don't swing on the baby bird, Oliver.
No. It's crazy, man. I've been trying to tell people this, and that's been a fun project to see come to fruition after a decade of tweaking that thing until I was finally happy with it. But now there's a few hundred of them out in rotation, and guys are crushing fish on it. And as much as I try to tell people that are new to it, don't swing on those bites, a lot of people were telling me, oh my God, like, dude, they're cannonballing it, like DJ is saying, and it just shot.
Weight.
And just guys, I mean, even one of my boys, like a client came out with me, and his first bite on it just kaboosh, and he just swung. And dude, my boy Caleb is all of 6'5", 280, 290, and just swung like he was freaking Bill Dance and popped the bait. And thankfully it floated up after that fish spit it. But it's like, bro, you don't have to freaking like swing on these things. You literally just wind through, especially since we're fishing it on braid to short leader. So there's no stretch. And those BKK trebles that come on the bait are sticky. So you just want to wind.
Really sticky.
Yeah. So let them get it. Just wind through the bite. And the same thing has been really effective with a 6-inch swim bait that we're fishing. I mean, I just repairing this thing. It's gone through like 5 or 6 28 to 32 inch pike and a few pickerel. But dude, this plastic is next level. Like, it's crazy, man. This thing is ready to catch another 50 fish, probably, at least. Like, I've probably caught 30 or 40 on it. Between some big angry smallies, mostly largemouth, but they're choking it. I mean, I'm winding it straight for the most part, and I'll give you guys a little something. This is stuff that I kind of save for like the YouTube members only part of Big Bass Streams. But I feel like if I make that cast into these shallow targets, they're eating it within the first couple cranks if they're there, or they're eating it like halfway out. But I've been getting them to eat it kind of in between that entry point into the water and that halfway point by implementing a little jiggle. And I'm watching this bait, and I don't know if you guys have seen this capsize swimming underwater from the tackle breakdown video or fished it yourself, but it doesn't only have like a body roll like this, but it has like a gallop. It's a trip. Like the chin is like galloping through the water, and I'm kind of accentuating that with that little jiggle. And Riley was calling bullshit on me yesterday, like, yeah, whatever. But I was backing up the footage, and I did it like 3 or 4 times. Get it in there quiet, either skip it up into like overhanging trees or cliff walls or some buckbrush that they're sitting on. If I'm not bit in the first 2 or 3 cranks, I do that little jiggle and donk, and they're just slacklining it. And when I pick them up and show them to the camera, you guys will see the videos at some point. Like, dude, it's down their throats. It's badass, and all you got to do is wind through it. And we're kind of experimenting as well on this whole run, because as you guys have heard me say on our channel and this channel in the past, like if it's under 2 ounces, for the most part, I'm throwing braid to short fluorocarbon leader. And of course, that's Defiant smooth casting braid to shock leader. And it's been working really well. But I have been haunted a few times, especially around those really big aggro smallmouth, especially on Lake O and St. Lawrence River. You guys know how much stronger those bass are compared to everywhere else. Right. And I've pulled some hooks, and I've had fish shake on the jumps after like the second or third jump, right? You make it through that first big jump from a 5 to 7 pound smallie, and you're like, oh, I'm good now. So I've actually started fishing some of these baits on straight heavy cover fluorocarbon, and it's been an interesting ongoing experiment. I can't tell what my bait is doing all the time like I can with braid to fluoro, but it's okay. Like, other than the occasional snagged rock, which is annoying, like I think that extra stretch is letting those fish get both the hard bait and that swim bait a little bit deeper. And then most of all, like the ones that aren't slacklining it and choking it are like only getting the back treble of my square bill, for example, I haven't lost any fish. And I think it's because of that elasticity and stretch of the Defiant heavy cover fluoro in combination with the softer, more parabolic crankbait rod. I've been fishing the Lose XD series. I didn't even know these things existed. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but I don't have any in here with me, but they've kind of got like that wind grip style handle material.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure they're composite blanks. So they're not full graphite and they're not full glass, but they're soft. And they have a 3XD, a 5XD, 6XD, 8XD, and a 10XD. And I've been fishing that 3 and that 5XD and 6XD heavily, and going back and forth between the same bait on straight fluoro, and I'm fishing the 15.6 pound. Remember, I asked this in the group chat the other day.
Yep.
Are you guys confident with the 15 or the 18? Because it's been so long since I've fished straight fluorocarbon that I needed a little bit of insight from you guys, because you guys have been using that heavy in your rotation for the last few seasons here. And it's been doing pretty good. Like in certain areas where I'm fishing like really shallow rock shoals that obviously are covered in zebra mussels, I'm having to retie a little bit more than I like. I did lose a hybrid hunter today because I didn't retie at one point. So that was a little frustrating because I feel like I can get away with murder with braid to like 23.6 pound shock leader. Specifically, like I can just run my baits through hell and get away with not retying for like a couple days.
Yeah.
In some instances, but with the straight flow, I'm having to retie a little bit.
Which did you settle on? Because I know that like some others, they threw out some comments, right? Like for me, it's the 18 that I really like, but I tend to like to swing on them and horse them in a little bit. So I always tend to go with a little bit of overkill.
Yeah, I would too, except that was the one size I didn't pack with me on this road trip. So I mean 15.6 is what I use for my finesse leaders on spinning gear.
Right? Oh boy.
Same.
That's my light line stuff. Like
I think the lightest I have is the 14. I have like the 15.5 and the 14, and the, like that. I won't go less than that. And guys are like, "You need 6 pound leader." Nope.
Yeah, and I don't. I wish I was like in one place long enough to where I can just order some 18 pound, because I think that would be like the perfect like size to where I'm not retying nearly as much.
Just send it to me, and when you come down here in a week or two, you'll have it.
That's a good idea. All right, we can do that.
I can check my stockpile at home too, because I may or may not have any left, because that was a pretty popular size to sell this show season.
No, absolutely, and I could see why. And but yeah, the 15's been working great. I'm just having to retie 2 or 3 times a day, which might not seem like a lot to people, but I'm just so used to not having to retie it almost ever.
Yeah.
But that's just one of those adjustments I've had to make. But this 6-inch capsize HD has definitely been one of the highlights for us. It's just easy to use. It's a great search bait. Like I can cover a bunch of water, and I'm watching them in like a foot of viz track the bait and move to come eat it. And it's confirming that with that slackline bite when I'm feeling that tick, and then it just literally goes slack because they're coming up from behind it, eating it, and that momentum is still carrying them towards me. So anyways, that's been a lot of fun. I've been catching them on a couple different hard baits as well. But yeah, man, you guys got some dope lakes.
I really found that capsize that was what my first ice out fish of the season came on this year, was that 6-inch capsize HD in the pink color.
I caught one on the pink the other day, actually.
Yeah. And the ability to allow that bait to slow down or speed up without blowing out and rolling was key, because I can get it and work it right over the grass edge, and I'm fishing from shore.
Yeah.
And guys are like, you can't throw that from shore. No, it's a great bait. I fish a lot from shore because I got ponds near my house that I can go that I know have good fish. There's no boat access to it. Yeah, I've got the boat, but like this place produces good fish. Ice out all year round, and it allows me to learn how to throw baits that I wouldn't typically throw on the boat all the time either. And it's so super fun. And throwing that HD, that capsize, and it was just smashed it. It's like slacklined it.
Nice.
Yeah, I will say that ability to like hit it with bursts of speed and rod twitches and even like burning it momentarily has got me some bites this week. And there's a lot of harnessed boot tail swim baits out there that will get bit when those fish are just keyed up, or that single like steady retrieve is eliciting the response you want. But being able to manipulate this bait to different like degrees of erratic movement and speed is a game changer. And the durability, like I'm telling you, like multiple pike, multiple pickerel, and multiple, like a few dozen largemouth, smallmouth on the same capsize. It's been pretty wild.
Yeah, we had good luck with the 210 this I had good luck with the 210 and Ghost Perch this past weekend. It was pretty magical. Like there's one I'm working on a video right now, and it's Like I was literally at the boat and I see this giant just following it, and I just stopped it for like a half a second, and it just came like I could see it behind it, and I was like, oh, he's following it. And I stop, and then he just engulfs this thing, and every single one of them, I was digging deep in the throat to pull out that back hook because they were literally just coming up right behind the bait and just eating it. It was awesome. Like it wasn't a slackline bite. It was violent. Like they just came in, sucked it in, turned, and like tried to run with it. And like a couple times, I was like glad that I was holding onto the rod because they hit it so hard. And even the glide bait fish too was it was dope. It was so cool.
That's badass. Now that's another bait that can be implemented with speed and varying like levels of erratic movement. Like one of the ways I love fishing that 210, especially the faster sink models, like the moderate and the fast, is honestly like ripping the crap out of it. Like think of that motion you make when you're trying to fish a thunder cricket or a chatterbait through the grass.
Yeah.
When you're catching grass, just do that with that 210, and dude, they freaking throttle it. Like
I was fishing the 210 slow sink and some steady retrieve, and then just kill it, and it falls just straight down like nice and horizontal, and then like a quick retrieve or like a quick rod pull to get it to kind of dart. Because like if you watch the perch that are up shallow right now that have just spawned, you got all these tiny little like 2 and 3 inch perch that are just darting around everywhere like super quick. And so just ripping it and then just letting it sit, and then some slow like reel cranks, and then some quick like bursts of speed. And every single time you stopped it and started, they would hit it. Like it was, lots of different ways to work that thing. Let it fall down to the bottom, let it just sit there for a hot minute, and then just keep going. It was awesome.
yeah, that's rad, man. I see Dropmint asked if there is a 5-inch version, and yes, there is an unrigged 5-inch version. Just put a link to them on Tackle Warehouse. They've got most of the colors, I think, and if not, I'll send you a different link. Lake Pro Tackle has some as well, but they're really the only 2 places that you can get them at the moment. And I know the 6-inch capsize is sold out everywhere. Same thing with the baby bird.
Yeah, I went looking for the 6-inch capsize last night before, gearing up for my Champlain trip. I'll be up there May 14th through the 18th. And
even I had to order them from Tackle Warehouse because I could get them overnighted. Like literally, just open these bad boys up. I got what was left the other day. But the 5-inch actually got bit for me, rigged on a 5/0 BKK Titan diver with a little flashy as well. I was fishing the white one and dipping the tail in chartreuse. I picked up that little tidbit from our man John Shin out of Texas because he fishes Texoma a lot, which has got a real similar watercolor to here. And he's just taken like one of these spike it markers and just dyeing the tail chartreuse. That's been pretty effective.
Nice. Man, I really wanted one, and I was bummed that I didn't get one earlier in the year because it's a bait that I have like really never done well on. So I was like, I'm gonna wait, and then seeing what everybody's doing with it, I was like, I should force myself to get comfortable with this.
Ton of fun.
And then I'm thinking ahead, and like I'm losing track of time here with everything, and I'm all of a sudden it clicked. I'm like, holy shit, I leave in 2 weeks for Champlain. I got to get some stuff. And then I go on, and like you said, they're freaking sold out everywhere. So I'm like, I guess just go screw myself then. Yeah. But I got other stuff. I'm excited.
Nice. Actually, I will say, I think Lake Pro Tackle had a couple left. So I just dropped a link to that in the comments as well. But I'm pretty sure you can back order them from Tackle Warehouse. And I know they just put a new order in. So if you back order them, you'll probably be one of the first ones to get them. And then Sean, you said you're going to be here in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
I can try to send you some of my stash that I have in the boat.
I
Just
can
leave
deal with
them
just
hidden
one.
in the hidden treasure chest behind that rock. That one rock. You know that rock?
That I do know that rock. That one rock.
Just leave it behind that rock.
Well, so David Roy and I are going up, and I was thinking about it, and like I've only fished the Ticonderoga end twice. Nope, 3 times. Take that back. And we did that. I did that last year with. Oh Christ, I can't remember what year this was. I think it was last year with Pasong from
Yeah, it was
Sherpa
last
Swimbaits. Okay, yeah.
No,
And we were
that was 2
going
years.
up.
That was 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
That was
you're
2
right.
years
Because
ago.
last year was David
before
Roy.
Yep.
Okay, yep. So
Oh,
2
yeah.
years ago. And anyway, we were trying to figure out what to do. We stopped at where you started at for this trip right now, Oliver. And we got there. They were fanning beds. Like, never mind. Drove up to Ticonderoga. And that was a ton of fun. And we hammered on them really quick. So I was thinking about doing that again with Dave. Drive up early Wednesday morning, fish tie end up towards like Bulwaga Bay and all through that. And then get in the
Go up
truck, drive the
north.
last 2 hours and, get to our place we're staying at in Keeler Bay.
Yeah, go up north. They're going to be like it. It all depends on what you want to fish for. Like the
Angry
smallies
Prespawn right now.
The smallies will
I
be
know.
like in
I
wolf
know.
packs, getting ready to stage like on like deep drop offs and stuff like that. Like mid-May is a magical time on Northern Champlain.
No, I know. That's
where
why
you
this is
can
my 5th year
literally
doing this.
just throw anything, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no fun. Don't go.
I want to go like what we're trying to talk about, and like I want to go friggin' fast moving bait power fishing through some stained water and find some angry Lake Champlain greenheads. Like that's what I really want. I'm all for going for smallies from up there because I do it every year and it's a ton of fun. And I gotta help Dave. Yeah, I gotta help Dave beat his PB smallie, which is only 4 1/4. So I feel confident we can get that done.
Oh, that's
But
cute,
it's like-
Dave. That's a cute size. You guys see the markings on the one I got today? Like it had like that melanosis or whatever, that black pigmentation on it.
Wait, how do I do this? Hang on. Wait. Remove that. Why is that not working? Oh, okay. Here we go. Aha, there we are.
Yeah, look at the markings on that thing.
Isn't that weird?
That's beautiful. I love it when you get them like that. You get them like that, like crazy out of the Connecticut River.
Say a lot of those, more often than not, Connecticut River fish have that black spot.
Yeah, it's nutty.
That's sick. Oh man.
All right. So
Baits.
Oh, I
baits.
will say, because you're talking about fishing with David. I know
Yeah.
he was smoking them on the 7.5 inch in that real perch color.
Yes, it was to start the season.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to throw those because I want to say Tack Warehouse had those in stock still.
They did, and I did not grab one because again using similar ones. I've had minimal luck catching any of them on the small ones. I had never caught another one on the bigger one.
What's
so I
the,
saw that and I'm like, I can't catch them on that. Frick that.
You're just gonna keep fishing the shitty ones.
No, I'm not even throwing those, man.
You just said, like, I still
No.
got the shitty ones that don't get bit. So yeah, I don't know.
I haven't even thrown those shitty ones in 2 years. Where's the
You just lost all confidence in that style bait altogether.
the tote is over here somewhere in my shelf. They're over there. That I just
Get
for
out
me,
here.
it's a lack of confidence in it.
Come out tomorrow.
Say that again,
Come out tomorrow. I'll put some confidence in your freaking brain. They're
dude.
eating
I
this-
would.
You do
I
look
can
a
see the
little
wheels
ill,
in his head, be
Sean.
like,
Yeah.
shit.
Sean, you look a little pale.
I'm not
You
gonna
feeling
pretend. I
okay?
just tell them they know they know what I like to do for fishing. And
Come on with it.
okay, so what is your favorite moving bait? While I check my work calendar to see what I can do.
Most people may know this already, but my favorite pre-spawn, early spring, whatever you want to call it, moving bait is a swim jig with a big swim bait profile on the back. I like a 4.5, 5 or 6 inch, which may seem and look ridiculous with a swim jig that's this big and your bait's hanging off this far. But the way that action gives, and when you die and kill it
Mhm.
and drop it, that bigger paddle bait tail or swim bait on the back of it allows that bait to just fall super slow. So when I'm in a foot or two of water and it's just going through looking like a bluegill or a perch or whatever it may be, I find I get so many more bites doing that than That's my confident go-to big fish catching early spring pre-spawn. I love that bait. If I had to pick only one, that would be the one.
What?
It's a good thing we don't have to pick just one.
No, you're right. And it's one of those, like, I will always go out with the damn near exact same thing. Although, not last year, the year before, 2 years ago, that's where I changed it up and I started throwing the Miyagi from Beast Coast a little bit more. But that's a 4.65 inch paddle tail swim bait, but it's a big profile. Like, that really is meant to be swam just on a naked beast hook. But Andrew and I played around with it a little bit 2 years ago, and we threw it on there and we trim it back, the nose back to right in front of the eyes, and then you can see where the tail comes off the back of the tail and gets skinny before it starts coming down to the belly, like right at the tail end of where it stays skinny, just straight line right across to the nose, skinnied up. That tail still kicks like a champ, and on the back of a really light swim jig head, like the Working Man's from Beast Coast Fishing, that 1/4 ounce, it still kicks beautifully. That's a big profile. And it still works even if you don't trim it. You just leave it completely uncut as it is. It's a really big profile, but there are days that'll work.
I like that profile a lot. Just the whole big, chunky, massive, big. I find I have a lot of success early season with just a really big profile.
Yes.
Oversized baits like the 7.5 capsize in the perch or the 6-inch in the perch. People think up here that's a bigger profile. And it is, but it's not that bad when you look and see what they're actually eating. I mean, I caught a couple fish with perch in their mouth that were 6, 7, 8 inches long.
Yeah.
They were to feed. They're hungry.
They were chomping the 8.25, which is the Defiant 210, an 8-inch glide. And then, like, I was throwing a 9-inch trashy Giz and a Defiant 210. And they were smashing the piss out of that thing. So big baits, like, don't necessarily scare them right now. And that Miyagi too on a naked chatterbait is pretty cool too.
Yes.
You son of a bitch, you took it out of my mouth. That was the other thing I was going to say.
You don't even need to do anything to it. Just rip the skirt off whatever chatterbait you want. Doesn't matter what color head. Just throw like a 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce chatterbait, and you can literally just rig it on there and get to fishing. It's fun.
The Thunder Cricket and like the OG chatterbait, rip the skirt off and throw a full-blown Miyagi, don't touch a thing on it. Any other big swim bait like that profile, that size, I think would do the same thing. And jackhammer, I didn't like it as much.
I do like to keep the skirt on mine with the Miyagi.
I do that as well. And when that bite is on, dude, that's a big profile.
Yes.
But when they hit it, it's about one of the meanest bites you'll ever experience. But you take the skirt off and you get a lot more numbers that way.
Yes.
It's much more consistent. But yeah,
it just adds a little bit of noise to it. Because you don't really need, I guess, the tail kicking. Like it exaggerates the tail kick and stuff like that with the head, with the blade. But it's just the noise that kind of draws them in. Like, what's that?
I tell you what, I did, Oliver, order some of the 5-inch Scorpio tails, and I'm going to do 4-inch and 5-inch, because I had a bag that I got over the winter and I've already ripped through those. So I got some white and green pumpkin, both in 4-inch and 5-inch, and I'm going to do a lot of mid-strolling in 2 very specific spots when I get up there, going after some big smallies. But I got the 4-inch and the 5-inch throw on the back of a bladed jig while I'm up there too. And I am mucho excito for that, because every year we go up there, that mid-May on the northern end, there's 2 very massive areas that they just destroy a jackhammer nonstop. It's dumb. As long as they're not already on beds. We get up there and there's not a single bed in sight, then I know I'm just going to pick up a jackhammer. I'm going to put the trolling motor on high, and I'm going to cover as much water as I can, and we are going to absolutely hammer them. Man, it is so much fun.
I will say, out of all the new baits we've been fishing this season as a team, that Scorpio tail quickly became a favorite of many of us. And it's because of its universal like versatility as a standalone bait. Like Riley and I busted their ass fishing it old school soft jerkbait style, unweighted. We actually used a unweighted swim bait hook because the twist lock keeper kept the bait from ripping like a standard Texas rig style extra wide gap hook would, and it would keep it from slipping down. And this is when I only had a few packs available, so I had to really extend the life of these baits, or at least I thought I did. But with that rigging, we're catching 20 to 30 fish on a single bait before we'd have to swap it out. Actually, we didn't even have to swap it out. We usually just broke it off, losing it in the trees first. And I'm like, crap, I never really got to see like how many fish I can catch on one. And then John and some of the other boys, like Anthony, went on a tear mid-strolling it, like you're talking about. And John is an iScope guy. He's anti-live scope. So he's mid-strolling blind with that thing on a jig head. And Anthony, I watched him on one of my home lakes catch a 37-pound bag, scoping that 4-inch.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And it was nuts because they'd follow the 5-inch that day, and Riley and I had been catching ours on the 5-inch, and they would not eat it. And he switched to the 4, and he caught a couple 6s, a 7, 8.5, and a 9.5. Like nuts. And then we started fishing that 5-inch on the back of a thunder cricket. And when you go to clear the bait or just hit that handle to mimic clearing it and get it to kick out, that scorpion tail has a lot less drag than most trailers, including a lot of the paddle tail trailers that I like to use. And it seemed to allow it to kick even further off center. And just that bulbous scorpion inspired tail really moves in a unique way, even when it's sinking, right? Or on that mid stroll. And if you're using some of those jig heads that really accentuate that body roll, this bait is perfect for it. I actually just watched a video by Matt Steffen yesterday. He's a co-owner of Core Tackle. And those guys came by our booth at the Bassmaster Classic and loaded up on a bunch of baits. And they were fishing the Scorpitail on their new shimmy rig, I think it's called. And it's pretty much a jig head with like a drop wire with a weight on the drop wire that like gives it a different like center of gravity and balance.
Oh, interesting.
You're right. It is a shimmy rig. I'm looking at it right now. That is interesting.
And all he was doing is winding it up off the bottom, and it would literally shimmy down. He'd wind it up off the bottom, shimmy down, wind it up off the bottom, thunk. And
it's almost like a Tokyo rig looking thing.
He caught 4 in a row on it, his video, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool." And this is after he went through a couple of the hype, like trendy, like minnow baits that were like ripping on one fish. And he's like, "Oh, I got 4 in a row. This thing's still going." Blah blah blah. So I think people are going to be really pleasantly surprised at the entire lineup of the BUS Soft Plastic. You're going to get durability without sacrificing the action, which has never really been a thing with a well swimming soft or good performing soft body plastic bait. Like if you had any kind of durability, it's probably because it was rigid and stiff, and therefore it meant like it didn't swim. You're not going to find that with these baits, but you guys will see.
I mean, I did a lot of vertical Damiki rigging with the first ones that I got, the 4-inch.
Okay.
I caught 1 on it. But I got them so late and then broke my boat, so I didn't even get out again after that last trip in December. So
are you finally through all of that?
I mean, did you end up seeing the picture of that connector from my blinker trim switch to my throttle trim switch?
Yeah.
And it was corroded to hell.
Yeah.
So I cut that all out. Nice clean connectors, like cut everything back to bare copper, waterproof butt connectors. I have not had any issues since then. I do have one more relay that's underneath the console that's a little crusty. The new relay, I ordered it 3 weeks ago. It just came in the other day. So I have to throw that on there out of an abundance of caution. Cut it all back to, nice clean copper, waterproof bladed butt connectors. Throw those on there. waterproof bladed boot connectors.
There you go.
Booted blade connectors. Yeah. Anyway, those things. And dielectric grease, slap it all over it. We'll be good. But to your point about Scorpitail and then a jig head that does a lot of shimmy side roll. We had Austin Felix on that was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever the hell it was. And he's got his tree shaker, the Dream Stroller. I just picked up a couple of those. Well, I say a couple. I picked up 3 packs of, I had to look it up because I want to make sure I get their sizes right. 1/8, 3/16, and quarter ounce. So I'm pretty well stocked up to try those. I've got so many different jig heads and I like a lot of them for it, but this does something that none of the others do. So it's like, all right, if I'm really going to try this up there this year, let me give these a shot. He spoke very highly of them and he explained everything as to why he likes them so well, why he designed it the way that for them to be. So I'm like, screw it, I gotta buy them and give them a shot. And there's 2 spots that I can think of specifically up on Champlain that when we go up there, I have missed it every time. My buddy Dennis has always hit it right before or right after we got there, and I'm just hoping that maybe this is a year that we hit it just right. And he catches just giant smallmouth in one of these 2 gaps, and I'm like, I'm gonna hit it right one of these times, and that's why I got all this stuff. I wanted more Scorpitail. I got other stuff in case they're not interested in that because I only got the 2 colors. Maybe it's a color thing or a different size, whatever the case. Like I am locked and loaded, man. I'm hopeful. But
this is a legit question.
Yeah.
What's the big one on Champlain? Like over 5?
A big smallie?
Yeah.
Over 6.
Over 6 is a big one.
Yeah.
Over 6 is a big smallie. I mean, there's a lot of 5 to 6 pound smallmouth out there. You just got to weed through the 3-pounders that are cookie cutters out there, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they literally spawn in their 3 pounds. Like that's what it is on Champlain. Like you get a lot of like the 2 to 3 pounders that are just cookie cutters. Like a big smallie's 5 to 6 pounders, but there's bigger out there. There's, you know, definitely.
Dennis
Record
Hart.
613 though.
He
Record
caught
613 on the smallmouth.
Yeah, Dennis caught a 6.36 pounder 2 years ago.
Big.
That's a big smallie no matter where you go.
Just wait till the gobies get in there.
Yeah, so okay, really quick digression on that because I've been excited, but I also know it's going to change how the lake fishes a little bit, and that's going to kind of suck. But it is what it is. Whatever. I always thought
For a
they're
year
going to come
or
in from the
two, and
north
then it's
end.
going to be dope. Well,
But
yeah, they say because
they're
of the
coming
St.
from the
Lawrence
south.
Seaway. Who knows?
Because they're coming in
South
from,
goes out to the Hudson.
right, but it flows south to north.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
they've
they're
also
coming
been
in
saying
from
that they're
Oneida
coming from,
through that canal to the Hudson, then the Hudson all the way up to South Bay, and eventually up through Plattsburgh and on and on and on. I thought
they
it was
say
the
that
other
they're
way around.
coming from like the St. Lawrence Seaway area.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're coming in
Down
from
in.
both ways. Yeah, because they got
Yes.
that boat canal that comes in from the St. Lawrence River all the
Mhm.
way, back up against stream, and those little bastards spread regardless.
I don't know. They say that the gobies are bad for like eating fry and stuff like that, but then I don't know.
Well, they
The
are very
numbers- the-
bastards. They eat
Yeah.
just about everything, as you can tell when you throw anything soft on the bottom.
yeah, but they live on the bottom, right? Like they live right on the bottom. I don't know. It's done a number for some of the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence and some other bodies of water. The fishing is pretty incredible and the fish are nice and healthy.
It's just going to change it, just like how alewives got into Champlain somehow and changed it. I learned some pretty cool things fishing with my man Sean Good, who's the working fisheries biologist for the state of Vermont for the past 28 years now. He was telling me, and all you Jurassic Park fans might think this is cool. Any of you guys get into like the Jurassic Park books, not the movies?
I did when I was young. I read those books a long time ago.
So you remember how the geneticists would kind of build like a amino acid deficiency into their genomes to supposedly like have one layer of control over them? I think it was like lysine or something was the amino acid. But
I will take your word for it because it's been a long time since I last read that book.
yeah, like so without like human supplements, those fish wouldn't get what they needed to like function properly, and they would pretty much wither away and die. But they found it like on the island somehow. But those alowife have a very similar effect on these fish in Champlain that have pivoted their diet to a high alowife like consumption versus what they used to eat, which was a lot of yellow perch and a lot of other things. But they get some kind of amino acid deficiency and it messes up their spawning. So this is why I guess the lake trout and the Atlantic salmon were having issues. And I don't know if it's affected the bass in any way, because I know those smallmouth, especially in the mid and upper part of the lake, have really changed their habits and kind of got a little bit more pelagic and roaming, feeding on this new bait supply.
I kind of feel like I have noticed that because up in Bawaga,
Yeah.
there's a very heavy alewife population, and there's been times in July with the water temps nearly 70, 85 degrees, like hot.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing largemouth on beds still. I'm like, why is it like end of July and the water temps are in like the high 70s, almost 80s? And it's like, these fish are very clearly on beds.
Weird.
Very
Like,
weird.
not just one or two, but like hundreds of fish on
Yeah.
beds. And I know that section in Bawaga is a very prevalent alewife, and I see them all the time there.
Weren't they present during that tournament? Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was that or it was no, that was alewife.
There's a couple every year when I go up there. You'll see a couple up there. And I'm like, why is this? Huh? I noticed it 3 years ago was the first time. It's very weird.
Very. So, Sean, I apologize because I had to dip out for a minute there for bathroom break. Did you get a chance to really kind of cover your absolute best? I mean, after we have one that we get to really go into deeper details, then I want to kind of quick fire through like all these other things we love, because like Oliver said earlier,
Sanko.
it ain't just the one thing. But did you get a chance to really pick your best pre-spawn bait and really elaborate on it?
No.
Do it.
For me, it's I always have 2 to 3 different colored chatterbaits tied on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like I guess it's a cookie cutter answer. It's something that like everyone has. I always have a chatterbait tied on throughout the season. This weekend it was white chartreuse with a gold blade on it instead of a silver. Yeah, the gold blade was getting bit like way more than the silver. The silver we would get short strikes, and the gold blade they were actually following and eating.
Well, hang on. Elaborate on that. Was it cloudy, or were you in really stained water?
1 day, 2 days, yes. The other day, no. But it was cloudy on one of those days. The other 2 days were pretty bluebird. One was blowing, one was dead calm, and then the first day was just overcast, wall of rain, just crap weather.
Did you notice you got
water?
Did you get good bites on that low pressure rainy day?
No.
Or was it like a pretty slow day?
It was slow, but the quality was good. It was really weird. It was really weird because like when we were catching them and they were super pale, right? Which tells me that they haven't been up there for a long time, that they're just kind of starting to move up. But what we were finding was good quality fish. I think the smallest fish that we caught all weekend was like 3 pounds, which is like, it's a good, it was weird. Like we got out there and we found 61 degree water on Saturday. And then we were fishing in like 47 to 50 degree water on Sunday. And then Monday we fished the 47 to 61, depending on where we were on the specific lake. And we actually pulled the boat out and went to a different lake too. We started off at a different lake, and that was a little cooler. That was like 50 to 53 degrees, depending on where we were. And then we fished like 47 to 61, depending on where we were on the other boat. So like we fished kind of like a lot of different conditions. We fished 3 different bodies of water that were all drastically different from one another. But yeah, the chatterbait did a lot of heavy lifting throughout the weekend. My buddy threw a spinnerbait He just throws a spinnerbait all the time. You can't get him to throw it, like put it down. But it was perfect though too, because and he never fishes a trailer. So his only trailer is a stinger hook. And he'll tell you he's just like he's naked.
Dude, it works.
Naked spinnerbait with a stinger hook on it all the time. Never puts a trailer on it. The only trailer I need is a stinger hook. That's what he says. But it like with the short strikes when they're nipping at it, he caught a lot of fish, and there were times where he was out fishing me, and they were all getting that stinger hook when I couldn't buy a bite, and then it kind of flip flop. But
see, okay, I'm glad you said that. Has there been a day where you've had just as many bites, where it was as close to a 50-50 split of bites between a jackhammer or bladed jig and a spinnerbait, or was it always one was much more heavy than the other?
No, I mean, I think it depends. Like the chatterbait is kind of the tried and true. Like it's a great pre-spawn bait. The spinnerbait to me is something that I'll pick up when there's a little bit of like ripple on the water when the wind's blowing a little bit, because it throws off a little bit more flash. Like, there were times where he was getting bit on the spinnerbait and I couldn't buy a bite on the chatterbait, and then I was getting bit on the chatterbait and he couldn't buy a bite on the spinnerbait. So, I mean, for me, I guess it just all depends, and I don't know that it was where we were or how we were fishing it or the time of day or whatever. It was like I said, it was a really weird weekend. Like even the big bait day was a magical day and it was freaking awesome. Adrenaline was through the roof, but like we hit 3 different like bite windows that lasted like 10 or 15 minutes. We caught some other fish too, but for like the most of the fish were caught in 3 completely separate like 10 to 15 minute bite windows where it was just fish, and it would shut off. And then we'd switch to something else, and then we'd catch some here and there, but there was no rhyme or reason or pattern to it. And then all of a sudden it would kick back on again. It was like you could just throw the bait in the same place and you were just getting smoked every time. And it was cool.
Similar to like when we were out.
Yep.
There's the very specific 20-minute windows or so. And I was talking to Sean before we started. I really feel like this time of year, that low pressure system, rainy, cloudy, when guys think that this is going to be the best time to fish. Typically in the summer, that's great. What I was talking to Sean was like, this spring noticed when it's that low pressure, slightly windy, cloudy, just kind of gross out, the bites were terrible. It was that they wanted that bright sun and to be warmed. And I think that was big key for this time of year. Was I went out 4 different times and tried this, and it was terrible. It was started to rain, and I was like, the bite should be great. It's raining. Nothing. The next day, 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, smashed them. And I think that bite window that we had reflected when the sun was at the highest and the brightest, it was like 20 minutes to an hour, and we just lit them up. And it was that one spot, clouds would come through, kind of die off a little bit. We're like, where did all the fish go? That sun would disappear, come back. As soon as that sun come back, boom, smashed them again.
Yeah, it was what I caught more fish on jigs in the calm weather on like the high pressure on Monday than we did on moving baits. So
interesting.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was weird. Like, and maybe it was just kind of where we were. It was strange. It was really strange. Like Saturday was just terrible out. It was just raining the whole time for the most part, other than like the first 30 minutes we were out on the water. It was overcast the whole day, and then it was just raining. It was really gray, stained water, warm water. They weren't up yet though. And so I think the fact that it was so warm so quickly kind of put them in a funk.
Yeah.
But then we fished cooler water on Sunday and just had a fucking banner day on Sunday. It was awesome. And then on Monday it was like super hot. It was like 70 something degrees, not really a lot of wind, high sun, not a cloud in the sky. And they just really didn't. we caught some on the chatterbait, but they wanted something that was just slow. So like I found most success just literally barely reeling the chatterbait just enough to get it to kind of start to kick and flutter a little bit, like just get the blade engaged. But any faster than that, and they didn't want it.
Interesting. That seems to add up with kind of what I found too, because we had out of the 5 days in a row that I was out, we had 2 days that were very rainy and gross, and those were the least productive days. The one day was high sun but low wind, was also a little bit more difficult, but the high wind and high sun was found to be the key on all of the 5 days. And then the week after that, I was able to replicate that and kind of learn and try the river and different ponds near me to see is this a pattern? Can I figure this out for seasons going forward? Because the spring was just so backwards, it felt like, compared to and I was talking to Oliver about that before you came up. I was like, it's backwards up here, man. Everything's backwards.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I think we're still getting in the best fishing though too, right? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's only just begun. And I think as the time goes on, it's only going to get better. Like it's still pre-spawn. Like the numbers aren't up shallow, just attacking everything yet.
Not yet.
But they will
Not yet.
Right? There's good quality and there's stuff out there, but they're not, you know what I'm talking about, when you can just go around and you can just beat the bank and every single cast is a fish trying to guard a bed or fend something off or whatever. And you just sit there and you just yank them all out. And it's like, I lost track of how many fish I caught in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, seriously.
Why do you think I'm so lost from California?
Where's that?
There's a reason.
It's over here, maybe.
Hey, real quick though, while I'm trying to spool up my setup here, hey, any of you guys fishing lose reels yet? Because I will not.
That's all I've been fishing the last 5 years.
Up until last year, I had no idea they made anything beyond $150 price point. And my ignorance is astounding. But this Hypermag, for example, is probably my favorite out of the entire lineup, even after the TI and the Pro TI, which are $400 and $500 reels, which are badass and nice. But I kind of reserve those for more finesse applications for heavy duty lifting, the capsize, Thunder Cricket, pretty much all of this moving stuff that we're talking about on the stream. I think we have a dozen of these Hypermags now. And before I spool on this 15 pound, because I don't have 18 pound heavy covered fluorocarbon on there, they have this, what do they call it? A speed spool or
yes,
you're
talking
tie
about
a knot and just hook it.
Yo,
speed knot.
I've spooled thousands and thousands of reels working in tackle shops and on the boats and being a tackle junkie, right? And
This is nice.
I normally have to feed the line through the frame and up and hope I didn't get over an extra part of the reel that is not gonna let this work. Well, there's that
Not anymore.
Dude, I literally just tied 2 overhand knots. See that little nub against my dark ass face? That's perfect contrast. And I literally just freaking wind that thing on. That is amazing.
It's such an under talked about feature about how friggin' convenient it is.
It's so easy, even Oliver can spool a reel.
I tell you what though, I'm nervous and I still throw a little, just a wee smidgen piece of electrical tape over that after I tie it in, and I'll pre-cut it. I'll just grab my fishing scissors and cut a little corner and just slap it over the top, because I reline my reels as often as I can, but I also hate having to do it, and I will push it to the last minute. And there's been a number of days where I'm bomb it, and then you're watching, getting close, but you don't get your thumb on it quite in time, and it's just that really hard stop. It's it gets to the end. On that, if there's no tape on there, that's coming out.
I don't know. I'm pretty confident in this.
Yeah, no, dude, that Elite TI is great. Those Hypermags are phenomenal. They're my favorite. Form, fit, and function on everything about them. They're phenomenal. Hey,
Yeah.
sorry, Sean, you were gonna say?
No, I was gonna say. So I have a question, just because in the past 2 years I've really been like going through my quest to be proficient at big baits and throw them every single time I'm out on the water and the whole 9 yards and whatever. So I have a question for everyone here, about throwing big baits in the pre-spawn and how you find success with retrieves. And I'm curious. I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts, because I have my own opinions, but I want to hear everyone's thoughts, and even the guy from California too. You can chime in.
I'll go last.
You first.
My like go-to bait for early spring pre-spawn is probably a 250 and then some sort of like crank down and then a wake. Because I like the big, just dumb profile where you can, I feel like, or like the chapter 1, something big like that, where you can just get a big dumb profile. I like to start out with just a basic, simple, just glide and see what I can call out. And a lot of the times that'll allow me to determine if they're even in the mood to look at the bait. And then I find if I can throw that back in there and just rip that thing and get it really erratic, that's when I'll get the bites on that bigger bait. And I like to throw that when we're in high potential areas where I know that there's going to be a fish there. But I'll use my wakes and everything else as more of a search bait, and I find more success with like just a subsurface wake, super slow, in and around the pads, just in 5 foot of water, even ice out. I like a wake. Those are my 2 big bait. I just don't have. I find that's what I've had the most success on the last couple of years, anyways.
Sean, I feel bad. Can you please ask the question again? My multitasking is not on point tonight. When you were asking your question, I was writing in the chat, let people know if they're curious about any very gently used Douglas rods, both X Matrix and LRS, reach out to me. Make some magic happen. But I'm sorry. So
No, you're fine. And for those that are not fulfilled by Sean's supply, reach out to me privately, please.
We got you.
My question was, throwing big baits, like what do you find, how do you find the most success in the pre-spawn within like cadence and presentation and stuff like that? And I know it's something that you've been working on too, and you and I have had long conversations about. You just want to do it more and be better at it and be more proficient, and you haven't given it the time that you want to give it.
That's the trick, because you really got to dedicate.
Yeah, but it was like, but that was kind of my question in a nutshell. Like, big baits for pre-spawn, cadence, presentation, baits, styles. Whatever.
I mean, if we're talking like a true big bait, like what I would consider to be a
5-inch plus sold on Swimbait Universe. If you mention it on Swimbait Universe, you're not going to get chastised for throwing. It's, you know what I mean? That's right. Big bait. That's what I'm talking about. Big baits, like big glides, big crawlers, big wakes, big soft body swim baits. Multi-jointed crankdowns, wakes, you name it. Like swimmers. Like what?
So pre-spawn, I've got nothing. Like, I just have not done it enough. The only thing I can say is mostly echoing what DJ had said, because that's the only little bit of success I've had on that, kind of traditional big swim bait bite in the pre-spawn. Post-spawn, totally different animal. I've done extremely well. Like, not like just post-spawn in general, like immediate post-spawn. When you're like 2 weeks out after all the beds have just emptied out and they're just about getting ready to start chasing that bluegill bite as they go to spawn, like that.
But just specifically pre-spawn. Like, I guess I'm more curious about other people's success on how they're working the bait and the cadence.
The only thing I've done, big swim bait stuff, big baits in general, pre-spawn that has been consistent, and you're gonna laugh. This goes back to the first year we went where we just had that mega bag. The first year I ever went there, so 2020. 6.8 inch and 7.8 inch Kitech swing impact fat on a 6/0. Yeah, I think either a 6/0 or an 8/0 beast hook, weighted. So what, 3/8 ounce for those sizes, I think. Straight line retrieve until you feel it bump against something. Quick pause, repeat. It is the dumbest, easiest thing you can do. Those Kitechs or any other big soft body swim bait like that, like, you know, no harness on it, just a bait. They're easy to come by. You don't need like crazy specialty setups for throwing those because they're really not that heavy, even when you're throwing the bigger beast hook on it. Just, you know, if you've got that prime conditions, kind of what we're facing now, where the water temps are climbing, those shallower spawning flats are starting to warm up. The fish are getting maybe not up in and on them, but they're moving. They're getting staged. They're getting close, and in some cases, they're up on top, and they're doing nothing but cruising and eating. And it's as easy and mindless a fishing as you can do, and you don't have to do anything special because it's like the best time of the year to do it. You're presenting exactly what they're looking for. Big, easy meal. That's just kind of cruising along, enjoying the warm water, just like every other fish up in there. And the moment, you know, it doesn't matter what size bait you're throwing. Anytime you can get deflection, change of direction, that is always awesome. So you feel a little pause. Just give it a second and then continue on. Just that little hitch. And then same deal. Like that's the thing we talk about with doing, you know, bladed jigs, jackhammers and stuff early in the spring for years now, is that erratic action and then just a quick pause. Because, you know, we saw that like right at the boat, last minute bites. And I have it happen all the time. And you know those fish are just falling. And they're just waiting for that one opportunity. That's either that deflection or just a quick pause. So if you can get it naturally, that's even better. Initiate that pause yourself too. That can also be very good. But to answer your question in a summary, 6.8, 7.8, soft body swim bait, like whatever you want. Get it on a beast hook, rig it weedless, get it up in the shallows. Just real nice and slow, right in the middle of whatever that water column is, whether you're in 1.5 feet of water to work with or 5 feet of water to work with. And just as soon as you feel some little vegetation, quick pause, continue. And it's dumb, but it works. And it doesn't work all the time, but works consistent enough that I could go out there and I know I can make that happen if I really want to just stick with doing that.
I did also learn that with the wake baits, any sort of big swim bait too, a lot of the guys like to do the dead sticking thing. I have not found success with that, but I do find success pre-spawn or early spring with just twitching it, just letting that bait erratically twitch, stop it.
Like a jerk bait?
Yeah, just like a top water, just leave it there for a minute. Jerk it, let it be. I've seen and caught a lot of fish doing that, and Kara taught me that, and I was like, this is dumb. This is never going to work. And then I'm like, okay.
DJ, you know, I'm not going to dive into the whole relationship advice, but maybe you should start listening to Kara a little bit more often.
Oh, I have learned. Don't worry.
No, I mean, for me, and I'll go before Oliver goes, because then he's gonna put the clinic on for all of us guys that are just starting out in the big baits compared to him. But at least for me, right, with like the colder water and stuff like that, I found more success just reeling and throwing in some pauses and some quick twitches and maybe some, you know, really quick quick reels or quick rod snaps or something like that. Just for like a fleeing fish or fleeing bait fish kind of, I guess, presentation. But I find that like the choppier the bait, the wider that it glides, the more erratic that it is, that I get less bites out of it. But the more natural that it is, the tighter the shimmy or the tighter the swim, the less like body roll, the least choppy glide baits with a straight retrieve get me the most bites right now. Like if I really sit there and try to like chop something and like get it to pause and like turn and look at the fish, like the fish get scared and they swim away.
Yeah.
Sometimes the stop can like really help, and then you keep going. But I guess for me, the more just kind of like chuck and wind, with some rod pops, some quick reels, some stops in there tend to work better. That's my take on it. Like pre-spawn, kind of where we're at right now. All right, Oliver, the floor is yours.
Oh boy, this kind of goes back to that point I made about best 5 pre-spawn baits. Only 5 pre-spawn baits you need, and this goes to a similar dynamic in presentation, right? Regardless of the spawning phase that we're targeting these fish in, the only common denominator on how I fish this bait or that bait or this bait, whether it's a traditional size bait or a big bait or not, is variance in my presentation, because they never want it the same way 2 days in a row for me. I don't care how I'm catching them or what I'm catching them on. So I try to stay in a fluid state of mind and am constantly experimenting. But generally, I will agree with what DJ said, is I always start with a starting point, right? Like I'll take a bait and I'll fish it stock, so I learn the bait's full range of application before I start tweaking it, before I start putting weights into it, before I start modifying it. If I don't understand what it does as a baseline, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Like going back to the crawler, guys are like, oh, how do you tune it? Like, well, have you even thrown it just out of the box? No. Well, how the hell do you know what the tuning is going to do to it?
Right.
What?
Each one could be different too. You never know. You got to see what that bait does.
Absolutely. So learn that bait as its concept was intended through design and prototyping and development. And then you can start modifying both the bait itself and how you implement it, even down to your presentation. But especially early in the year, that low and slow is a great starting point. 5.
He disagrees.
Hey, you're a good guard dog. I'm sure they're trembling. Yeah, good boy.
Get him.
Boy.
Sean, the pizza's at the end of the driveway.
Yeah. But especially with the glide early in the year, right? Like I like to get cute with my glide bait and make that chapter 1 or whatever I'm fishing, like dance and do this like really technical swim. Dude, early in the year, there are many days where it's just hard to beat that real slow, methodical S swim.
Yep.
Right? Like I've fished side by side with Riley, with other glide bait hammers, and when they're reacting to that style of retrieve and presentation, I'm going to get cute just to test it, right? Like I have that tendency to try something else that isn't working just to see. And that slow and steady retrieve, depending on what that speed is, it's different all the time, is a great starting point. And then from there, you can start adjusting your presentation and adding bursts of speed or big wide swings in your glide bait. But always experiment. Like even with the crawler, that baby bird would get obliterated some days on a real slow bloop, 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 bloop. And then the next day it was a stop and go. And then the next day it was like walking it to where like every time you make it pivot 180 degrees, it would throw water with the wing, throw water, pause, little bursts of speed. Like it was a frantic bird coming out of the water. Like the bait kept working. The presentation kept changing. Even with the capsize. That's why I love this thing. That's why Sean can't find any anywhere. A whole box full of these things. Because I have the ability to keep showing them something different. That's why that Defiant 210 and 247 were designed to be able to fish at a dead stick, like I'm crawling a jig or a Senko, to immediately going into a burn retrieve and everything in between. I need that capability in my lure range to suit seasonality, but more importantly, the temperament of the fish. Because it doesn't matter if they're coming out of ice out. Like if they're hunting prey, that prey is not going to swim away in slow motion. Like, oh, don't you know it's 49-degree water? Right? Like I'm watching these things hunt this thing down with my bare, like naked eye, in mid 50, low 50-degree water temps as we're kind of climbing up. Like to me, that's frigid. Every time I reach down and touch the water for whatever reason, I'm like, oh my God, like, dude, this is like ice water. This is crazy. But those predator fish are accustomed to chasing fast-moving prey, no matter the seasonality. So don't be afraid to implement bursts of speed somewhere in your retrieve. I'm not saying go out there and burn this capsize just because you can right now, but you can definitely implement like 1 to 5.
You definitely can right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can. You can, because you watch like the perch and all the other stuff follow your bait in, and they're nipping at it, and then all of a sudden they're just like off. They're gone. Like it's so quick, and they're moving like that, right? And so you almost have to as well because the bass are feeding on stuff.
absolutely.
That was one thing we also noticed when Kara and I were out. She was using an 8-4-to-1 reel, and she was burning it as fast as humanly possible. Like just nonstop, just boom, and you would just get trucked, and your bait would stop.
Nice. Going like pure animalistic reactionary strike on those fish.
Yeah.
I like it.
I get a lot of people that see how fast I'm actually fishing this time of year. You're not going to catch anything. I was like, all right, but I'm going to have a lot of fun. There it is.
Yo, when they start going ape shit for that burn retrieve, like if you guys have ever smoked a lipless crankbait or a spinnerbait or a chatterbait for these aggro largemouth and smallmouth here in the north, once again, those situations and circumstances explain why I'm lost from California here multiple seasons in a row. Like they are going to come unglued on these super bright, the all white, the chartreuse, the hot pink, just straight aggro. Wind that thing with an 8-3-to-1 as fast as you can reel, and they are going to absolutely smoke it.
They're going to knock that bait out of the water.
Yeah.
That's going to be that ghost reeling slackline bite where you're just, and all of a sudden, poof, and you're like, where the hell's my hand reel?
And that's honestly, that situation is where I found the importance of winding through those bites instead of trying to set the hook the moment the fish consumes it.
Yeah.
You got to, dude, like going on high on my trolling motor is about 4 miles an hour with that Garmin Force on that big ass Vexus, which is pretty fast. And I think
yes, it is.
now, right? And I'm seeing these baits swim, and I'm like, dude, I've got to be cooking that thing when I'm on this bite at least 7-8 miles an hour, at least. And if you think about how much that bait is moving towards you, and oftentimes my trolling motor's on high going the other way, if you try to swing on that momentary bite, you might penetrate initially, but then your rod tip's going to be way up here, and that forward momentum of the boat's coming this way. That fish was coming this way. You're going to have instant slack in your line, and you won't be able to catch up. If you just wind through until it comes tight and that fish eats it and then turns, you're going to hook so many more of them. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
That's why I still struggle with swing for the fences.
Yeah,
like
hook sets are free.
swing.
Hook sets are free.
Except for that first one. After 3 straight skunks, and then I finally get bit. I was like,
Wait,
oh, yeah.
And it was just so big too. You're like, I think this is a stick. Nope.
Well,
This is a stick.
it had something in its face because I remember, unless it came up stupid, because I legitimately thought I saw a stick come up, and I didn't think about this much until again just now. I think it actually got wrapped around a little bit of a stick because I thought I saw something stick-like come out of the water, and that's why I said I was like, I think it's a stick. I mean, it could have just been a lily pad that came up like just perfect. I don't know, but yeah, that was dumb. Anyway. All right. I just realized it's 9:30. It is getting late, and I still have mucho editing to do. So there are just a handful of questions we didn't get to that Sean had taken the opportunity to star. I did answer some of them in the chat, though, so I was able to knock a few of those out. I do not know how to Illuminati tout. I'm going to guess I got that right. Oliver, how do you fish glides in the current? What bait are you throwing there? That's actually a really good question.
That's a great question because not all glides respond well to current, especially if you're like throwing them cross current or even like straight down current or up current. That chapter 1 is a phenomenal glide bait because you can fish it at speed in still water situations, but it's got the capability to fish well in current as well. How do you fishing glides in the current? It's same deal, just variants, right? Like, thankfully, if you're fishing current, you're probably fishing a river. And generally, I found that river fish are either more aggressive or stupid, or hopefully aggressively stupid.
I'm going to find out tomorrow.
Yeah, you don't have to do as much. Like, I feel like if they're there and they're in the mood, a simple retrieve will get them to respond. And then occasionally, if you got to get cute with your retrieve and throw some twitches or vary your cadence here or that, yeah, you can do that.
There you go. Dropman, any hybrid hunter tips for pre-spawn? Hybrid hunter?
Yeah, it's a Strike King square bill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be why I don't know it, because I don't do cranking.
Oh my
something I need to work on more this year. All right?
Prespawn square
I've been
bills
talking about it
are
for
a
years.
lot of fun, and how I got started fishing on Champlain.
That's how I got started in general, outside of just a Texas rig. And I will do plenty of pre-spawn cranking, but like that's it. And I'm just like, oh, cool. KVD 1.5 and 2.5. That's all I need. Because I do it so infrequently. I need to change that. Anyway, go ahead.
Tie it on and chuck it and wind it. Yep.
That was today before I broke it off.
That's the hybrid hunter?
Yes, the hybrid hunter.
That's perfect.
I saw
I
him
don't
in
think
the clearance bin at SFT tackle the other week when I was coming up here, and I'm like, oh, people are sleeping on this thing. It's kind of a funky shape. All right, it's got like a funky lip on it too. It's hard to see because of the glare or whatever. And there's at least 2 sizes, and they're kind of big, so they're right up my alley. But yeah, throw it. That's my tip.
That's literally, it's a great bait. Just put it on and throw it.
I will
All
say
right.
it's kind of loud, which I kind of liked because some of the areas I fished today got blown out from that wind and that internal seiche phenomenon that I described. So I wanted to throw something with a little bit more presence and just a different vibration profile than the other baits that I was catching fish on. But different is good, especially if you can get it in like a similar pattern or similar genre that's currently working. And as you continue to hammer those fish like I have, you can show them something a little bit different and still get them to bite.
I completely agree with you on that.
Because what's interesting too, I'd say like a third of the fish we were catching have hook holes in them.
That doesn't surprise me.
And they're weird too because they have like gangrene growth on them.
Interesting.
They're like green, slimy algae spots on those like wounds.
That's
very-
really weird.
Yeah, what do you guys do to your fish up here? A bunch of weirdos.
Well,
All
I
that
can't
chocolate
what
milk that
DJ
they're swimming
does.
around in Lower Champlain.
Shh, don't tell. Sean taught me.
That's
Just
Sean,
get-
not me.
No, that was your body of water.
Oh,
That, Sean. The other one.
Oh God, free for all on this. Michael Walsh, do y'all use TA clips or just tie direct to lure? Does it matter? First off, what the hell is a TA clip? Like I know what a clip is, but what is TA?
I know what TNA is.
Yeah.
not that, Oliver. This is a family show.
Riley's in the background, just out of frame, just giving you a really just disapproving
Stink eye.
look, isn't she?
Thankfully, she doesn't know what that means either.
She already left. She already left him for the ramp in the morning. She's just left him at home. She's out.
We're about to see a hand come in from side frame.
Oh, there it is.
Smack him. Yes.
It doesn't matter. It depends on the bait maker.
It depends on what action that bait is doing too, because there's some of my like crankdowns and wakes that I prefer to put a clip on in the spring that I don't want to clip on in the summer because it makes the action just slightly different. And same with my glides. You just have to play around and find out how that bait is working with or without one, and whether you like it with or without it. It's all personal preference and what the fish is gonna tell you, really.
Valid.
I agree, and I was always kind of in like the school of thought that if it came with the split ring or like a snap on it, that you would just tie directly to that, and it is what it is, and that's the way you should fish it. But I've kind of been experimenting with bigger baits and other stuff like that too, and I'm throwing on half of my setups are straight fluorocarbon, the straight heavy cover fluorocarbon from Defiant, and then the other half are I use 70-pound braid to the smooth casting braid to the 35-pound shock leader, and I found that I was like, I like this bait right now. No, I don't like this bait. I want to throw this one. No, I want to throw this one. And then every single time my leader was getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And I was like, this is dumb. I just wasted, 2-3 feet of shock leader. And now I'm tying an FG knot, when the wind is ripping, and screw this.
Fun.
This is stupid. And so I just started using the decoy snaps. And I'm really liking those for some of the bigger baits. There is some, I guess, some difference in action. I mean, like, it's going to swim a little bit tighter. If it's direct tied, it's going to swim a little bit looser, and you can kind of get it to turn on itself and pivot a little bit. I direct tie glides. I throw them on snaps. Right now I'm like, they're all on snaps for the most part. And that allows me to change it out and not have to worry about retying my leader. I haven't found that it makes that big of a difference personally right now, but that may change in the coming months, years, whatever.
Nice.
Yes.
Before Oliver gets into it, because I know he's going to have a lot more to add to it, again, as much as I enjoy throwing big swim bait stuff, I don't do it nearly as often as everybody else. I am probably the least versed in consistent success with big swim baits. So I have kept it very simple. I have a lot of stuff made by local builders from the greater Northeast, and I asked them directly, what did you design this with? And they're all great. They'll tell you right away. Like I know Bullshad, everything they design is based off of direct tie. So I direct tie on those. I've got an LFOD rat. They had a very specific egg snap size that they designed it with, and they just know it worked for that. Is that the only thing to use? No. And they even told me that. Colby told me directly. He's like, you could probably get away with other stuff, but we designed it and swim tested it with this one clip, and it just works. Okay. I don't need to think about it. I'm just going to grab that and go with it. So that's been my thing. But DJ, Sean, it's fun, spot on. Now it's Oliver's turn because he can talk a lot more about this than I can.
So,
and he already sounds tired.
He was just tying up all of his snaps. That's why he's tired.
I left him in the boat, which is why I'm a little frustrated because I have all these rods that I just rigged up to add to the arsenal, since I'm trying to get Sean to come get this thing bit tomorrow. But anyways,
I can't.
I
My kid's got a baseball game.
Yep. I mean, they cry once, right? And then
I already missed one, and I'm going to be missing another one.
you might see some resentment in like 10, 12, 15 years down the line, but it won't pop up until like a drunken rage. Like,
says the dude who takes his dog everywhere and doesn't have kids. I love it.
you know, some things are
Leave
worse.
Fife in California and then talk to us, Oliver.
Man, I mean, who else is gonna whimper incessantly on the boat when I hook a bass? Like,
I won't whine too much.
no comment.
yeah, I fish a lot of snaps because I'm always changing baits, right? I don't know what those fish are going to respond to because I don't rely on other people's info for the most part. If anything, I'll try to figure out what the local regional culture is fishing so I can kind of swerve and go another direction.
Mm-hmm.
But that means I've got to kind of start from the ground up, right? Like I'm going to start with my confidence baits and colors and the conditions I'm given. But sometimes that doesn't work out. Like we talked a little about that in pre-show. You know, I'm fishing pretty dirty water. A bunch of my dirty water colors are not drawing bites, but one style is. And it took me a lot of color changes and a lot of bait changes to figure out what they're biting for me consistently. With that being said, like a bait like the capsize, like I know to what 3 colors that they're really biting well for me. I can confidently tie that on straight tie and know I'm going to get bites. But they're eating it off a snap as well. But like DJ said, there is variance in that swimming action because of the freedom of the range of motion. And it can be a good thing or a bad thing or inconsequential. But for the most part, I like my baits on a snap or the freedom of the snap. Obviously, like a bait like a 210, which is a line through, like that's a direct tie 100% of the time. But like a capsize 6-inch, 7.5, 9-inch, it's either or. But I will say, like those of you guys that are Big Bass Streams YouTube members have probably seen the members only video where I modify a 7.5-inch here, and here's a 6-inch for size comparison to be a weedless. I do like that direct tie on a weedless rigged swim bait.
On the beast hook.
Yeah. I mean, a beast is a owner specific hook, but like any weedless swim bait hook, I do like having that little bit of rigidity at the connection point instead of like that floppiness from the snap. And that just seems to help me penetrate that big oversized hook on that straight wind. And then like on glide baits, it depends. But on the chapter 1, that was designed with a split ring in mind. Okay, so coming out of the package, it's going to have a split ring on it. But since I fish it on a snap, I'll take the split ring off. But I will say I noticed this going back to my Megabass days. And when I fished a snap on a 110 or a lot of the hard baits, and I took off the split rings because at one point all the JDM model jerk baits came without a snap, and all the Megabass America jerk baits came with, I'm sorry, not a snap, but a split ring. Yeah. So they came without a split ring, and the USA ones came with a split ring. So I started taking off all the split rings off the USA ones because I fish a snap anyway. And I found that the swimming action was affected in a negative way. So I actually started putting the split rings back on all the Japanese colors. And it seemed like the bait was swimming truer more often, fouling less, and I was getting more bites. And I remember the president was asking me, like, why are you fishing the snap with the split ring? I was like, honestly, because it seems to work better. And that's holding true even now with like all these Strike King hard baits and Nomad hard baits that I'm fishing. I'm fishing a snap to the split ring. And I've noticed that, especially when I'm burning baits or using any speed implementation, that combination has not been a negative detriment to my presentation. So yeah.
Nice.
For those that haven't seen the chapter 1, they're pretty dope.
Wait till you
It's
guys
super
see
good
this
design.
video that I'm going to put out in the world eventually. You guys ever watch that video of Riley netting like an 1130 that ate that cast diving popper that got snagged in the net?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, I saw this video already. He's gonna, I think.
It went very viral. Okay. And she got the fish.
That was the one where she got all the hate for missing it like the first time or something, or like netting it upside down.
Oh, yeah. That was just the warm up. Because this next video, first cast of the day with the chapter 1, I actually just caught like a 6-pounder on the baby bird. But I was fishing a pretty congested bridge. And these guys are kind of like a little too close to the piling that I wanted to throw the bird at. Like it would have been a dick move on my part. So I just put it down and I picked up the chapter 1 and threw the other way. And I'm talking to these dudes in this tin can. And about halfway in, I feel the first tick. And dude, I'm still shaking off rust, right? This is like a couple weeks after the Bassmaster Classic. Like I haven't been fishing much this season up until that point. And I feel the first tick and I'm like, that was weird. And I'm like going to glide it and I feel a definite tick again. Tick and I'm like, oh, there's one. And it's substantial. Like it's not like a 4, 5, 6-pounder that moves when you lean into them. And this head comes up and I'm like, oh crap, this is a real one. Get the net. And that point to halfway to the boat, I realize I have 2 bass on that chapter 1. And there's one
Big,
about 4 pounds.
Big biggins.
And then the other one on the front hook is big. And let's just say the comments will run rampant from this video clip.
He already showed me that when I went up and fished with him, and Karen, I saw that right. Oh,
I know which one you're talking about now.
That one hurt a little bit. Thankfully, I've caught
I can understand
big
that.
bass. All right, and I've caught plenty of big ones, so like it didn't hurt that much. It would have been nice to land 2 simultaneously on a glide bait, because I've seen it happen before. Like we've featured it a couple times in previous big bass streams, video projects, but that was the first time it happened to me, and that bait did its job. If you want to hold that bait up again, Big
it's
Apple,
that spiral hooks that
Mr.
it
Miller.
has.
that's right.
I put it back in the world's nicest packaging. Mind you, this is packaged in the best way possible. Like, if you haven't checked out the Black Spirit swim baits, you need to, because you don't just get a bait in a plastic bag with some staples. You get this awesome sleeve with this great box that it comes in. There's even a card in there for you. It's a personalized for you with like your name and everything on it. You get a different tail. It's pretty spectacular, by the way. These hooks are so sticky because they stick in the foam here. God damn it! I haven't thrown my hook guards on here. I'm like picking them out of the foam. Hold on, we're getting there.
That bait's got rotating hook hangers. So
Yeah.
those 2 fish could not use each other to leverage off until one got stuck in the netting.
That way.
Dude,
There we
these hooks are so sticky too.
And they're 3X at the same time, but like not like a really gouty 3X. We chose that BKK hook because it's got the strength to tangle with big toothy predators like big pike, muskie, or even big stripers.
These are the fangs, right?
They're not fangs. They're a different BKK hook, but they're still thin wire for a 3X rating. And I've had 0 issues with penetrating largemouth with it so far.
Dude, these hooks are stout. Like, they're giant.
Yeah, I'm excited to throw that bait around a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, as a glide bait bite like heats up, I'm super stoked, and I went for one of the first ones available, so I got the Ghost, the white one. What's the actual color? The Ghost Pearl.
Go white pearl. People are sleeping
yeah.
on the color, man. We did 2 collaboration colors with the Defiant line, and I needed 2 confidence colors that I knew I could get bit no matter where I went. And for trout fisheries, I needed that Ghost light trout. And for everything else, if I
I
had
need that color bad.
yeah, you do. If I had to pick one, which I'm glad I don't, because there's like 14 existing colors in that first run of chapter 1s. That Ghost White Pearl is going to catch them in every water condition, clarity, lighting, etc. It's just
it's like the argument that we had. We talked about it a few shows ago when we had all the swim bait guys on too, with like fishing bone colored stuff. Just white, just plain white. The paint jobs are out there to catch the fishermen, not the fish.
Yeah.
But if you want to get caught, there's 13 other colors to choose from.
Shameless plug. I love it. They're all beautiful. And they all come in this ergonomic, fancy, very well packaged Black Spirit swim bait box here, equipped with your own personalized magnet here and thank you card in each one. If you didn't get a thank you card, keep buying them till you do.
It's like the golden ticket.
Yeah.
They're in there. I promise. There's one in there somewhere.
Eventually.
Yeah. You just got to keep buying them to find out. Can I put this away now?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you're good.
Getting these hooks out is going to be very difficult again.
Looks like
Throw some blue tape around them.
Yeah, as much I'm having fun with this, but I was up till 1:30 last night and today, and I'll probably be up to about that point again tonight and tomorrow night. So I am going to call it quits. If I'm gonna stick to the schedule here, these videos I got lined up, I'm gonna call it quits. Get this stuff done. I got 20 minutes to turn on all this crap too before I can even get back to my PC. So it is what it is. But this was fun. So Oliver, thank you for coming on to join us tonight. DJ, thank you for making the drive down so you can take part again. Next week, just to give you a heads up, we're gonna do an open topic night because it's been a minute. So that'll be fun. And I'm not sure who we're gonna have here. I mean, it'll be Sean, myself, and DJ. I'm not sure how else we're gonna do this. I have another idea. I don't know. We'll get to it. Anyway, Oliver, again, thank you for coming. Any parting thoughts on your part before you take off for the night?
Oh man, just looking forward to fishing all of your Northeast waters here. We're going to be spending some time in upstate New York, Finger Lakes, Lake O. Might go mess around in that Prespawn window on the St. Lawrence on the Canadian side. But I know for sure I'll be back here on the Vermont side of Champlain first week of June. And we'll be doing training sessions for anybody that wants to come throw a crankbait, throw a swim. Anything that you want to gain some confidence in. We'll be happy to share some insight, some firsthand instruction. So if you guys want to do some of that, I'm anticipating a fun post-spawn window as well. So some more baby bird action possibly. So ridiculous topwaters. We had an incredible run with those cast collaboration baits that we did. The 30 and 40 gram size, both the down under and the OG got vicious strikes from big smallmouth and largemouth on the upper lake on Champlain. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You can email me, oliver@bigbassstreams.com, or you can even call me, 844-347-4223, and we can talk about it. And but yeah, it's going to be a fun run. It feels like it's just kind of getting to the swing of things. Like even through the West Coast and even through Texas, it seemed like winter kind of hung around a little bit longer than we anticipated.
Yeah, it did.
Yes.
Right? Yep.
And it still is. It was like 40 degrees here in New York today.
Yeah. But
a frost warning right now.
Dude, it was crazy. The day we rolled into town, it was snowing.
Yep.
And we actually timed it well to target some pre-spawn largemouth fishing, except that I didn't wash my hands enough. And apparently we caught norovirus. and have been dealing with
Yeah.
that. So wash your hands, you filthy animals. I see some of you bastards in the men's restrooms walk straight out. Yeah, I saw you looking over your shoulder, you dirty, disgusting creature.
I had norovirus once 10 years ago, and at that point, I have been a habitual hand washer. Like,
I
it's
thought
bad.
it was-
My hands
yeah,
are permanently dried out.
Due to those symptoms, I thought I just had a really bad bout of food poisoning, projectile vomit, and projectile other ways.
Yep.
It was not fun, and it knocked me
Nope.
out for over a week. And even when I got out with DJ and Sean Good, like, dude, I was out of it. And up until like yesterday, I haven't felt 100%. So
Just
Don't
stay
get-
away from that gas station sushi.
Mm.
actually, it was a sushi spot in Saratoga.
Oh, really?
Shout out to old Donnie the Mullet, formerly of Douglas Rods. Who
You went out with Donnie, huh?
no, he reached out though because he saw me out there. He's, oh, I got a house in Saratoga. I was like, oh, I probably got food poisoning from your little sushi spot.
Dude, if you're in Vermont, you got to go to Tokyo House in Rutland, Vermont.
We did.
It's a sleeper spot,
Oh,
and
did
the
you guys
sushi
really?
is
Yeah.
phenomenal, dude.
Oliver and Riley and I went there.
You guys went to Tokyo House?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people like hanging out with us.
Oh,
Listen, dude. I got a 17-month-old, and you're gonna
Hey, I
come
have-
see me, so we'll get to hang out.
I have zero responsibility.
even bring little Apple, too.
So
Look, there's a trend on the internet where you put your baby in the starboard side rod locker. It shields them from the elements.
Where do I hide my wife so she doesn't stab me afterwards?
You just got to drug her, probably.
Well,
Here.
when you come out
have this
here,
coffee.
when you come out here, we'll get together.
That's
I'll
what's
cook
up.
something. I'll throw something on the smoker or something. I may even bring little Apple too.
Oh snap! You have
Yeah.
a little orchard going on.
You want to play a round of golf too while you're out here, or what?
Hell no, I'm going fishing, man. Yeah. Hey, real quick though, big shout out to Alec Plot, Big Hammer.
yep.
What the hell is white gold that you're?
He
Delivery.
delivers milk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He drives for Hood, which is the milk supplier of the Northeast here. It's pretty much like a local staple in your grocery stores, your schools, and or
Regional state.
your belly.
regional.
If you're not drinking Hood, you're not drinking good. And I just made that up, but it's gonna stick.
Trademark Ricky Bobby.
He might be
That
the
phrase is registered trademark of Ricky Bobby.
he might be the first actual milkman I've ever come across.
And he has a mullet too. And it's
He's
great.
got a fantastic.
It's
mullet.
like and he doesn't even have to perm it. It's like naturally curly.
If it's anywhere as
epic.
good as his hook set, yeah, he's in good shape.
Always good, always Hood. I like that, Alec.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Awesome time, buddy. Thank you very much tonight. For everybody else that's still hanging out, you guys are champs. This is way later than we usually go, but this was great. So thank you all again, DJ, for coming down.
Thank you.
Sean for always being here. For Oliver for coming on and obliging us to talk a little bit about kind of everything. We're off topic a little bit, like most of the time, but it's fine. It was great conversations all around. Again, next week we're gonna do an open topic night because it's been a while since we've done one of those, and those are always fun. So, if you're looking forward to it, we'll get that done. The week after, I will be up on Lake Champlain, but I already got the go ahead from the owner of the house we're renting that I can do the live stream from the house. I'm gonna have a couple of random people on there with me, guys that I know that none of you know, but the people I'm staying with at the house, with the exception of David Roy. He's been on here. He'll be on the stream. That's gonna be a fun night. I have no idea what the hell we're gonna talk about, but we're gonna make it work.
Fishing.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah. We may or may not be half in the bag for that show. We'll see.
Quick question, Sean. Like,
Yes.
what is the limiting factor from live streaming? Like connectivity?
In this case, in most cases, yes, connectivity would be the limiting factor, but because I don't personally know this guy very well that owns the house. The people I am going with do know him very well. So through them, reached out, we talked. And he was like, "No, Wi-Fi is good. You can plug in like directly to the modem and everything, and
Go
you'll
get
be
it.
good." But I do know you have a solution for yourself to traveling lately that I was like, "Ooh, now that's a hell of a solution."
I had a perfectly clear phone call all the way from the ramp back to where we are when we've had zero reception otherwise. So I was going to share that with you as well as anybody else watching, because I need to be able to stay connected all the time,
Yeah.
right? Especially up here where it's remote. Like, dude, I was legit lost. Like, I didn't even know the town of Rutland existed, and we were driving all the way to freaking what's it called?
Burlington.
Burlington.
Yep.
Right? Because we didn't have connectivity. So we are using a Starbat Mini, which is a encased power supply and waterproof, weatherproof solution for your Starlink Mini. And we're now able to live stream whenever we need to and upload content and all that stuff. And we just got the promo code for them. So anybody that needs one can get $100 off. Just use code Big Bass Streams. So it's
Nice.
starbat with 2T's.com.
Cool.
Perfect.
I live in the woods. I barely have internet, so
No, this is a real thing. Like, I can't do what we do either, right? Like, we've got days of content we just shot. We've got to upload it. I've got to either edit it and upload it myself or transfer it to one of our editors, right? There's always data that needs to be going back and forth. And this is the only thing that worked. And also it's going to work when we're offshore, and we can take the internet with us 100 miles offshore tuna fishing this summer.
cool.
And stay connected to our boys on the water. So if those
awesome.
tuna are 40 miles the wrong way, they can literally just call me and tell me. Like, it is a game changer.
Dude, I want to come out and do some tuna fishing. Some top
No,
water
you
foaming
don't.
tuna fishing.
Yeah.
Well, we got bigger compartments that'll fit us, probably a 19-month-old by then.
Fuck that. She's staying home. I want to go tuna fishing, not change diapers in between casts. All right.
Well, you might shit yourself if you actually see this to see. So there could be some underwear changes still.
All day pull-ups, man. Come on, they make them strong these days.
All right, guys. I think Riley's had enough of us.
Yep. Understood. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching again. I've already done everything else outro-wise, so we're done. Have a great night. See you next week.
See ya.